Alright, so welcome to MyWatches episode 16. And yep, I'm finally back from Singapore, so we get to do a offline episode today, right? As usual, a long-time recurring guest, Woody, Watch Addict WT. Okay. Yeah, Watch Addict WT.
Yep, absolutely.
It's here, right?
Show his face.
Yeah, shouldn't be surprised anymore, right? And for those who are wondering, this is how he looks like. All right. As usual, first things first, wristwatch check, right? So, team, what do you have?
Grand SEIKO RIKA SBGH 271. So this is my latest piece. Green dial with gold indices.
Nice. All right.
So this is a TRASKA Adventurer, 38mm blue. I forgot what shade of blue it is.
Right.
Shade
Cool.
of blue.
Right. So all NWA, and also NWA, right? This is the what I have today is the Chronograph 2, aka SHIRO, right? We'll talk more about this later, but yeah. All right.
I'm having the all new watch, which was the SEIKO. It took a while, 5303. Big shout out to Jerome for making this work. So all sorted now.
Cool. And here we go.
Another NWA rocking the MING 1709 in blue.
Right.
1 year in the making, literally.
Malaysian represent.
Yes. And I guess we'll talk about it a little bit more later. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I think there's no particular agenda today. We're just going to talk about our new acquisition, what our thoughts about them, basically like a quick review, we can say. Talk about some of the new stuff in the scene that we have yet to discuss, and anything that comes to mind. It's pretty easygoing episode for today. All right. So perhaps let's start with team, right? In terms of your new Grand SEIKO that you have.
Well, very pleased with it. I think my initial gripe with the watch was just, and you guys know, it's the printed logo, the Grand SEIKO logo at the back of the case back, which really...
The typical Grand SEIKO scene.
Yeah, exactly. It thankfully is not as bad as Godzilla, but it still prevents me from enjoying the movement. But what I realized when I got this is I barely enjoyed the movement. I was just enjoying the dial. So, like every other day, I feel like I see something different with the dial. It's actually very dynamic. So what's interesting is that because it's the 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
The green, the pattern, because it's supposed to so-called represent summer.
Yeah.
So the pattern is actually horizontal.
Right.
Whereas the winter one, which is the blue one, sorry, is it the winter? No,
Winter is the grey one.
It's a grey one.
Yeah.
So I think the
That
blue
one's a
one
stone now.
is
The blue one is the blue is autumn.
Autumn, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Is a vertical.
Right.
It's a vertical texture.
Right.
But what I realized is that there is also some form of vertical texture to this dial, which is actually a little bit similar to your white watch, where if you move it, you can
I
see
noticed
that.
there was some texture.
I was
vertical as well.
genuinely surprised with that because I did not expect that pattern. So those were the little things that you kind of appreciate from the dial, and then the gold indices catches way more than the steel indices. So it's actually really easy to tell time even in very 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 low light. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So much that I brought it to my latest holiday. I wore it pretty much to the beach, hiking, and I kind of scratched up the
It's okay.
bracelet.
It's perfectly
It's
okay.
perfect now. It's
Yeah.
perfectly yours already.
Which is annoying me a bit, but other than that, yeah, really, really.
I think most watch people can relate. I think it's the initial baby sit movement.
First
Baby
scratch is
sit,
the
yeah.
deepest.
Yeah.
So for that's perfect segue over. For those who are terrified of scratches and stuff, this is the watch you should get. Right. So for those who are listening it in Spotify, what happens was Renee just basically slide his TRASKA on a concrete ceramic table with zero worry at all.
Without a care in the world.
Yeah.
It's not sweating.
No worries.
Yeah.
Man.
And tell us about it because you invited a few of us to scratch it up for you just now too.
So yeah, so this is a TRASKA Venture. So it's a 38 diameter with a 12-hour bezel. So with a pebble texture dial, which you need to see up close for you to appreciate it. It's using a Miyota movement, which is quite surprisingly not bad. Like it was like +5 after wearing it. Plus 5 seconds after wearing it for like 7 days straight.
Oh, that's
Wow.
pretty good.
That's better than that's
Yeah.
cost.
That's cost.
Yeah, it costs
That's cost.
Don't say +5 a day or +5 a week. That's
No, it's
Yeah,
plus 5
that's plus,
after
yeah.
7 days.
yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, and I think the most, the selling point of this is just it's scratch resistance, right? I mean, I can just slide it like that. Just now I was changing the bracelet without putting it
On anything soft.
on
yeah.
anything soft, right? It's like, I don't know. So I'm not sure how hard it is. Do you remember how hard it is? But
I don't remember also.
it's my beater watch. Basically, it replaced my SEIKO Turtle Mini as my beater watch. So I've been wearing it. It fits me perfectly. The size. I also wear it in our company dinner gala night. So
Mm.
even with a very formal wear. So I think it still went well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So yeah, I think
And
I've been enjoying it, man.
Any cons so far, in your opinion?
Any cons?
Yeah.
No, because it's just like 600 USD, right? So I'm not sure if I should complain about it. So first thing I'm not really happy about is the date alignment. It's not perfectly center, maybe a bit off, slightly to the right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just like a,
Have a look.
it's like check the 6. It's like slightly towards the right. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Yeah. Because if you align on the 36 indices, the 36 minute, it's
Yeah.
perfectly on there, but it's slightly past the 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
but I
What's
think
the water resistance on this one?
it's
150.
150.
Oh, so you can literally wear it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say I am impressed on the scratch resistance, right? I'm really impressed because what Renee basically did, he took out his car keys and he's like, oh, let me scratch it for you. And it's like, nope, JK, nothing.
What material is it? Did it have like some kind of coating?
There's a
Yes.
coating. There's a coating.
So it's stainless steel with some kind of
With a
coating.
on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a coating.
Nice.
I am curious to see how is it like maybe 3-5
Yeah.
years down the road
Yeah.
and so on.
And I
Because
think the people from TRASKA are very supportive as well because I had some issues with the bracelet adjustment and they sent me a new replacement bracelet. I'm sure if it scratches like after 5 years, they also gladly send me.
Renee, I think there is a permanent scratch here.
Oh really?
Yeah, I can't wipe it away. Right here.
Okay, let me check later.
Have a look here.
Oh man.
Discovered on the line.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. The review.
The closing is gone.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anything else you want to add for that?
Yeah, I think it's an amazing watch for the
Yeah, for the
price.
price.
Yeah, I think for the price, yeah, no
yeah.
complaints. Even if the coating run off 2 years later, it's way better than nothing.
I think if we
Yeah.
did anything of what you were doing just now, our watches won't look like anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. All right, so yep, for those who are not aware about this particular brand, do check them out. We're not sponsored by them,
Yeah.
but if you'd like to sponsor us, we're more than happy to have you here as well. Right? Okay. All right. So moving on, I guess I'll talk about my watch, right, which is the KURONO Chronograph 2 Seiji, right? I think the story for this is that I have been eyeing on the KURONO chronograph for a very long time, right? Since the Chronograph 1 is one of the first particular model that made me aware of particular KURONO brand. So when the opportunity comes up, I had a KURONO contributor allocation as well, which is basically first dips if I do want to buy it. It wasn't exactly a easy decision, right? There was some form of hesitation, and it's solely because of the thickness, right? I think we talked a lot about this a little bit in the previous episode as well. This board, it's really thick, right? It's thick to the point where I can see my entire face in the reflection.
Selfie.
Right.
Selfie watch.
Yeah.
Do you know how high is it?
I think it was like 14. Yeah.
14.
So the issue here is not exactly in terms of the measurement. I
Yeah.
think the issue here, there's no break point or anything.
There's no mid-case separation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one giant slab.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
High
the
polish,
bezel,
lah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, really, really thick. That is something that made me hesitate. After I got it, what has my opinion changed? I don't know, right? Because I'm quite torn at the moment because the dial is absolutely
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Really.
Right, really, really beautiful. All right, I mean, it has the highest likes among all the photos in
Yeah.
Instagram page. So that's it, something, right? It's really, really gorgeous from top down.
Hipster.
Yeah, right? If I look at it this way, I'm absolutely satisfied, especially paired with this particular strap combination. On the side, I don't know, right? So to be honest, I would say I need more time to explore with this watch. I'm not giving up on it yet. I'm trying my best to love it. So interesting to see how it goes next. Yep.
Very nice.
Yep.
What about the pushes?
In terms of quality, in terms of like the QC and when I say QC, I consider that. Yeah, the pusher is a little bit wobbly.
Only
Both-
the start-stop push.
Only the start
Yeah,
one though.
yeah.
But the action is very solid.
Yeah.
Pushing down on it, really solid.
Yeah, and if you take a look and look through the date cut out, it's a little bit scuffed as well. It's quite rough on the edges. That's the main two thing that I would say can be improved. Aside from that, it's pretty nice in terms of the entire experience as well. The packaging and the blue cloth that comes with it, absolutely beautiful. I think unboxing experience from KURONO has always been great. So interesting to see what's next, especially for someone that has
The tree
the
already.
tree, right? The whole line, yeah. So we'll see what happens next. I'm very curious to see what anniversary model that they're going to release for this year. Cool.
Yep.
Yep. You?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the MING 1709 is up next. Ordered this watch April of last year, so pretty much got it a whole year later. And you know, of all with all the controversy that's going on with the brand and everything, but you know, when this piece came, I think, you know, just looking at the watch independently, I think it's really beautiful. I've been wearing it for as many days as as I got it, pretty much. Beautiful blue dial. I think the design is really cool. It's fun to look at, right? I mean, most of the time I look at it, I'm not trying to tell the time, I'm just looking at it just because it's beautiful. It's quite a quirky design, I would say. It's like it's legible but also not legible at the same time, in the sense that the design,
there's no second strap.
Yeah, there's no second strap.
Minute strap also.
And then you have pretty much the 12-hour marker is not to say very distinct as well, and then you have nothing else that distincts the different hours. So, but it's very legible in the sense that you know, the hands are so obvious, the contrast to the dial, and of course the what do you call that, the crystal that's been engraved or had the applied luminova on top, which gives it a nice shadowy effect as well. So the way light plays on it is really nice. Under white light or even under sunlight, it's amazing. Hard to find any cons. I guess if I have to say the cons, it's the fact that I have to start buying curved lug straps. So yeah.
Okay, so put it in this way, right? I think that's the I mean, it's I think no cons for the price you pay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How about resale price? Is it worth it?
Given the resale price, which is, I think right now it's about 2 times the retail, right? I think I'll be hard pressed to go and get one at the price lah. But definitely for what I paid for, at the retail price. I think absolutely chuffed. I think Woody also rightfully put it that there's not really a contender in the market that you can actually look for with similar design and for that price range.
How much is the retail price again?
You had to pay half when ordered it, and then half when you get it, the other half. So I think in total it's about close to 9,000 ringgit.
Huh?
About 8.
7 plus lah. Yeah,
Was it?
7.8 or something like that.
Oh, so closer to 8.
It's under 8. So
Under
eight,
under
okay.
8 for that sort of dial,
Right.
that sort of application. Really, there's no comparison. I'm a great fan of Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko doesn't have anything like this. Seiko doesn't have something like this also, and it's to the fine detail. So even when I took a shot with a macro lens, all the way to the smallest bit close to where the spindle of the hands are, right? There's no flaw there, so it's really nice.
So the Clos de Paris pattern. I'm not sure if I probably mispronounced that, but yeah, it's a really cool pattern, and yeah, you kind of need to go really up close to kind of appreciate it. But yeah, I mean,
It
if
plays
you know,
really well with light though. So
Yeah.
if you've got a light source nearby and just play around, it's gorgeous.
yeah, it's really
nice.
cool. I think-
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I would call it like a pretty cool watch. It's pretty and it's cool,
Yeah.
and it's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's how I would summarize it.
I think the fun fact is this is the second blue watch that I've managed to, quote unquote, influence Han to
Oh, yeah.
purchase in this particular location.
Also lighting. I think any boutique who needs lighting advice, this is the stuff to get, man.
Yeah. So James has influenced me to get the blue reversal tributes, and as well as this one now. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm starting to become a blue guy. But yeah, I mean, absolutely loving it. Been wearing it for as many days as I got. Yeah, and I even bought a new strap to go along with it already.
So what happened to your Speedmaster? I thought it's
Sorry.
your Speedmaster. I thought it's taking most of your rest time.
Yeah, but but with this guy coming in, then now it's a contender. Of course,
Okay.
everyone goes through a honeymoon phase. But yeah, you'll see if it stands the test of
Except
time.
Woody, he doesn't go through honeymoon phase anymore.
Go through it very quickly. It's a promiscuous behavior with my watches.
And I think the thing about it is also the size. It's really small wrist friendly, and I think it
it
works
is.
well for me and for many occasions as well. So
Yeah.
really hard to part with it, I would say. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, interesting. I think that pretty much covers the NWA section. So let's talk about perhaps some updates on the stuff that we spoke about, right? I think starting with the Moonswatch,
Yeah.
right? Think previously we spoke about it. I think most of us mentioned that if it's available, we will get it. We're just not a fan of the hype. We're waiting for it to cool down, and we're pretty sure it will cool down eventually, and so on. I think it's been a month-ish since
Slightly over a month.
slightly
Yes.
over a month-ish since we last spoke about it. Has your thought changed? There's further reviews that comes out as well, looking at how easily scratch.
The crystal scuffs up. Yeah.
Yep. There is also the broken pushers.
Pushers.
That came off and so on.
Yeah, and apparently the Hasselite is not quite the same as what you would get on the
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah.
Although I thought initially it was the same, but apparently it's not.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think mostly some of the quality stuff lah, right? Which I guess changed some of our opinion, or
Yeah.
whether at least change our decision whether to own one. So I guess
So giving my opinion first. I have went from a would buy to I won't buy, even if it's with stock and so on. I think the issue is, I know it's cheap, but at least maybe naively I'm expecting something that is a little bit better in quality, right? Having a crystal that gets scratched, like going under your jacket or something like that, that is, to me, that's not a good sign. No matter how cheap your watch is, I don't think it should scratch that easily, right?
Yeah.
If you say like 1-2 years later, it may not be working or something like that, or it gets scuffed up really badly by then, I think that is still somewhat acceptable.
Yeah.
But if you buy something and it scratch up within less than a week, that is
yeah,
not a good sign for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to own it knowing that would happen.
yeah. It's
think
not
that-
that cheap either.
Yeah, and for the record, I think like 4 of us around the table have experience with a Hasselite, literally an acrylic
Yeah,
crystal on a watch, right? And I've got more than one that is acrylic as well. You don't here or that, you put it under the
Right,
cuff and all that.
right.
It doesn't scuff so easily,
Mm.
and that's plastic anyway. So
Mm.
talking about Moonwatch, I think the Junghans some Junghans models also have a
Yeah.
acrylic crystal,
Yeah.
right? I think they're also swatches. The previous normal swatches are also normal acrylic. They don't really scratch up like that.
Mm.
So to hear reviews that and that's the part that you see the most, right? So it's not even like, let's say we know it's a plastic case. You know that it's meant to be fun, right? But if the one element that's going to be exposed the most scratches so easily, it really kills the fun. It's like you have to baby a toy watch. Yeah.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense, You buy a G-Shock for that price, you would trash it and have lots of fun with it, right? But this one is like,
Should make some infographics.
so we might get
SEIKO
that.
5.
We might get that. Always open to ideas.
So it's mainly on that. If the crystal wasn't that issue, I mean, they did not have that issue, I'll probably still stick with it. I'll still buy. I still want a fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I can still see that it fitting a spot in the collection, like a satin being a fun piece and so on. But until that's fixed or something that can be done about that, nah.
They should contact TRASKA, man.
Whatever coating that,
Just spray on the crystal.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat. I thought I'll get it when it becomes readily available. I actually also didn't like the fact that, the representatives kind of said that it will eventually come online, right? It's a month later now, and reps from the boutiques are telling you, call us every day to check on stock.
Pretty much.
And not everybody lives near a boutique, So even if you do that, right, how are you going to get there? So that makes it a bit sour to the taste. And I think Swatch really missed the boat on this, because I think if they had solved their supply chain issues earlier, I think they were
They had more sales,
crazy, and the enthusiasts will still speak well of it. But I think most of the enthusiast world is now starting to cool or even go icy with them now, right? Because of what's been transpiring. I don't think it's good for the brand.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to solve it. Even if there is supply issue and so on. I mean, a simple pre-order, a waiting list or something like that, could suffice, right? So I mean, like, even it's like someone that does not live far away and so on. He doesn't want to go there and start queue again. It's like, hey, here's a deposit. When it comes, I'll come collect it, and then he secures a unit. Right. So there's a lot of ways to go about it, lah. I mean, especially if for a non-limited edition and it's something that is announced that will be mass produced. There is no cons to doing things to help people to better or easily secure their pieces. So
I agree.
Yeah.
But are you still going to get it?
No.
No.
Same boat lah. I mean, wanted to, would have probably gotten it, but I think now, I guess also because hype died down, and then I don't really see how it can. I mean, I have enough kind of pieces for rotation at the moment, so I think blessing in disguise in a way that I did not drop that amount of money to go and get it.
Really?
Yeah.
If you drop that money, you can get more money.
But I want to give a credit to Tim though. I think Tim was the one that was the first to say in our episode on Moonswatch that the quality wasn't up to his expectations. So he almost foresaw this happening, right?
But then again, I haven't actually even touched it myself, so.
But it actually makes sense after thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so I think let's move to, couple of pieces that we have tried. I think we can go with Brightwing, right? So I think most of us, not sure. I don't.
No, I haven't tried it.
Have you tried?
No.
Okay,
Which
so
brand?
Both of us have.
3 of us.
The latest one, right?
Yeah, the latest Navy Timer. Yeah. So I think, what are your thoughts about that?
I think when we look at the renders or the on the website, I think the cream one was like, I thought it was a home run basically. But having gone and seen it in person, it's nice, but didn't think it quite hit the mark. But what really surprised me was the blue one, like the
blue and black one, right?
Yeah, the blue and black one, which was really surprising because when I saw the renders and all that, it was kind of like, okay, but I saw it in person, I was like, oh wow, actually, it's really nice. I think that was the color that, if anything, caught my attention or has made me at least had the inkling to even own one. But of course, I mean, to me personally, I feel like the price tag on it is a little bit crazy.
How much is it actually?
It's
40 plus.
high 30s after discount.
So
Still
close
high
to 40.
30s.
High 30s
Okay.
after discount. So
Yeah.
it'll be about 35k ringgit
Wow.
after discount. Yeah.
Yeah. So that the price tag is one thing, and of course, some of us here also own the MyWatch Professional. So I think at least for me, that's also a box that I've ticked, and
Fair.
I didn't really feel like it justifies that kind of price tag to have another one.
And that price tag comes without a bracelet?
No, it's just a bracelet
Right,
price.
right.
That's the bracelet price.
Yeah.
But I think I can echo what Hans said, because I also expected to be the cream one to be really nice, right, from the renders. But I realized post-mortem what about the cream one actually looks better. It looks best in the gold case. It's not the steel case. When it's with the gold case, then that minor gilt that you see on the markers, right, it really comes together all together. But the steel version seems to lack a little something, and it seems to work better on the strap than the bracelet
Yes.
too.
Yeah, for sure.
I also feel that the blue and black one really suits a smaller wrist much better. I think it's the way it frames up, because you've got a black bezel instead of a white thing. So the thing about Navy Timers is it's almost all dialed. Unlike a Speedmaster, which has got an exterior bezel, right? So that black actually functions like a bezel to shrink the watch down a little bit from its 41 measured number. And so that works better for a small wrist. So I like it, but I think there's too much of, personal view, right? Too much of a Navy Timer provenance premium, especially if you consider the fact that it's almost the identical movement in the Tudor Black Bay chronograph, which you'll be familiar with because you've tried that one before, owned it before as well, right? Yes, it's a three sub-dial versus a 2 sub-dial, but ultimately the same base movement, and you
With
get
RFP of half.
RFP of half of that, right? So you're genuinely paying a Breitling Navy Timer provenance premium, right, to get that. It's tough to justify that price.
Is the gold more expensive as well?
Of course.
So that one even more, right? And it's also 36 mm.
36 mm.
No,
Sorry,
41.
The 41. Right?
41. It's also 41. And it's short lug to lug, so it's at 46, so it wears really nicely.
Yeah.
But I think that premium makes it really hard. In my mind, I'm going like, if maybe one day, a few years down the road, if the prices do come down, second hand on the market, I might consider it then. But in its current form, it's hard to justify that price.
For sure.
Yeah, excellent.
Nice, but the price. And then I guess if you don't own a chronograph, then maybe that could be a nice first one to have. But if you own one, I think you'll be hard pressed to find.
Even if it's a first chronograph, I think you're spoiled by choices.
So many options.
Yeah.
So and there's no water resistance on that too, which makes it even really hard. Which is, the Speedy doesn't have much either, but
it's more.
It's kind of more versatile. You feel the Speedy for some reason. Yeah.
So if I would look at it, for me, if I would recommend it for someone that really likes the brand or really likes aviation,
agreed.
if you're like your pilot, and
go for that one.
Yeah. So
No question.
it's not for everybody. Just put it that way. Yeah. All right. Speaking about Tudor, I have personally seen the 2 new watches. The GMT Steel and Gold and
Pro.
the Black Bay Pro. First thing, I'm still not a fan of the name.
It's like Apple.
Like there's so much like Black Bay 58 ceramic Pro. I don't know what's next. It's just they
Max.
need it's just the Black Bay. I think they're hyping up on. They want to harp on the Black Bay for its height and so on, right? But I think it's overdone, right? But that out of the way, looking at the watch, I think the first thing we all talked about last time was the thickness of it, right? In comparison to the Black Bay GMT 41mm, will it look disproportionate, right? With that smaller diameter and thick case. After having seen it in person, it's not too bad, right? It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it managed to do enough to be acceptable.
Better than this one.
Is it more acceptable than this?
Yes.
Oh yes, I completely concur.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They did quite well there. I actually saw it just a few days ago as well, right? And what happens is it's still chunky. Don't get me wrong, because it's the typical Tudor slab from the side, right? But what they've kind of done really well is because it's quite angular and there's that mild curvature as well, right? and there's a little bit of a tip at the top and a little bit of a bottom, right? So it doesn't feel so thick. What I felt a bit disappointing, a bit underwhelming, which I wasn't expecting, was the dial though. I don't know whether you feel the same way. I felt it was very flat. Seeing it in person, right? I feel the nice thing that Tudor inherited from the Rolex models is that surround, right? So you have a shiny surround and then lume plot in the middle. This one's not. This one's a full lume plot, and it's supposed to pop out three-dimensionally as a result. But that loss of that shiny bit creates a flatter look to it. I somehow feel the dial looks a lot flatter than most.
You mean there's no outline?
There's no outline. There's no outline.
Yeah.
There's no outline on it. It's a full lume plot, a three-dimensional lume plot. So it sounds great on paper, but when you see it, something feels missing. It loses some dimensionality as a result. So that was an observation I made. It felt very flat seeing it, even though it's not supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because when I look at it, I sort of thought that it's supposed to look like that, because I think they are very much inspired or quote unquote copy from that yes, right. And I think because of what they've done and that, I mean it comes out as flat, but I see it as it's close to that one, right? So I think if that is their intention to do it, I think it's okay. I'm not really a fan of it in terms of the looks and everything. But I do think that for people who really bash on the thickness of it, have a look at it first. You may change your mind, especially if you do like, for the ones that say, oh, the dial is perfect, everything is perfect just for the thickness. If the thickness is stopping you, have a look at it. It may change your mind, right? It doesn't make me want to buy it, but at least it made me dislike it less. I'll put it. I don't know how to word it, but that. But do take a look at it. It's not as bad as it made out to be, Yeah.
Well, comparing the Pepsi GMT and the Pro, would you recommend one over the other?
It's a very different watch. It's a very, very different watch. Ultimately, the look is drastically different. One is like a traditional GMT look, a dual color bezel, and it's I would, if I were to take one or the other, I would still take the GMT.
Pepsi.
Right.
Pepsi.
I do like the look of it more, and the reason why I always like the for those who don't know, I had the Black Bay GMT. I sold it in anticipation. I mean, not in anticipation to fund another watch, and also in anticipation of
the release that we won.
Yes, like a better GMT, right, in a Pepsi colorway as well. And the reason why I like that, it sort of fulfills sort of like a best of both worlds for me in terms of a vintage looking Pepsi, but a solidity of a modern watch. Right, so that's how I would describe the Black Bay GMT for me, and that's why I actually enjoyed it.
It's like a metered Rolex Pepsi.
Not the shiny jewelry kind.
Because I'm always a fan of the aluminium bezel over ceramic, right? For two things. One, the color is very much nicer on the aluminium, and second, the font is also nicer. The ceramic one it's fat and bold, right? You see, it's very
look
chunky.
at me.
Yeah. Especially, it's very much more prominent on the GMT compared to the sub, right? You see the 20 and everything like that, where the aluminium one, it's slim and sleek, right? It's a very, very big difference in terms of the thickness and everything, right? That's why the Tudor Black Bay GMT, I think it has a place for if you want a vintage looking Pepsi, but a solid modern watch kind of feel, right? So that's how
small wrists don't apply.
It's big. It's a big watch. It's a big watch.
Chunky.
Yeah, it's a big watch. Yeah. Right.
I think, Tim, you like the new Oris, right? And a few of us
Yes.
actually saw it.
I haven't actually seen it yet.
Pro Pilot.
The Pro Pilot
comment.
X, right?
No
I think
comment.
Is it Pro Pilot X? I can't
Pro
remember.
Pilot.
Yeah,
No,
Pro Pilot X, right?
X,
Yeah, it's
right?
Pro
Yeah,
Pilot,
Pro
Pro
Pilot.
Yeah.
Pro Pilot Extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great on the renders. So having seen it in person, right, the thing that was really underwhelming was the dial. And in this case, it's primarily because it's literally a flat dial. And I think the grey one has got a bit of a sandwich effect. The salmon one and the blue one, right, is literally a painted
Indices, right?
painted indices
Yeah.
only. So
And the paint is flat.
it's,
Yeah.
it may have a bit of a loom sort of thing,
Yeah.
but it's from one glance you don't tell it.
Yeah.
And it makes it very troublesome. So like for example your TRASKA here, right, it's 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
Right? That one doesn't have that look. It looks really flat.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, right, it's got a really nice case, really modern looking case as well, you know, very
Excellent.
clearly, uniquely Oris, right? But that for a brand that does really nice dials, they actually do very nice dials, right?
Yeah.
That's a miss lah, in my view. It's a bit of a shame
Yeah.
because it would have been perfect if they just borrowed an Aquis,
Exactly.
an Aquis coloured sunburst, whatever, and put it there, right?
Slap it on.
Yeah, slap it on. It would have worked. But
Yeah.
that one was so. I kind of felt a bit disappointed seeing it that way because I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
So I do suggest you go and see it. Preferably
Yeah.
if you can catch hold of the grey one, because I've not seen the grey one. The
Yeah.
one I think that one's got a more 3-dimensional look to it.
Yeah.
But how about the texture of the dial? Because it was supposed to be like a little bit grainy.
Very hard to
It's
tell.
hard to tell.
Very hard to tell
to
as well.
And also
tell.
because of how flat it looks anyway,
Yeah.
so you
Right.
can't really, it doesn't
Yeah.
pop.
It's
I see.
not
Yeah.
not a hit on it. It's like looking at this TRASKA now, right? Without the right lights.
Right.
It feels like that even under the boutique lights.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a shame because usually at arm's length you want to be able to tell it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Oh.
but really nice integrated bracelet. I
Yeah,
think.
the bracelet is
the buckle
nice.
is cool. It's modern.
I need to see it for my
But
first
yeah.
glance. It looks
Yeah.
like
I see.
massive. Right.
It's the blue.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, you can see it from the picture. There's no dimensionality on the dial at all. It feels very painted on. You know,
It looks printed.
yeah, it almost looks printed. You're absolutely right. That's the best way to put it. Almost looks printed on, right? I mean, wasn't able to check the loom or anything, but you know, you spend most of your time looking at this dial, right? So that's a bit of a shame. I feel. Yeah.
I don't know. I personally I don't really like first glance only. I don't really like the design of the buckle and everything.
Oh, what do you call it? The
Seatbelt
seatbelt buckle.
Seatbelt buckle, yeah.
It's massive.
It's
Yeah.
basically a seatbelt buckle.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It feels very out of place. But I need to see it in picture. I haven't seen it in real life yet, so I need to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess nowadays people are calling the watch Pro.
You're right.
Pro,
Yeah.
Pilot Pro, yeah.
Watch Pro. Yeah.
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 Or alternatively, you could segue to the brand that calls every watch a different Japanese name. So you've got now many different textures for the Grand Seiko's manual wine watch, right? And just like this week, there was just yet another one.
Or Rushi, is it? Or Ru, or something. Yeah.
I think it's probably a relative of the toki, the toki bird as well that KURONO has, right? Because it is also after a local bird of some kind, right? But I think we got to see the Kishun, the light blue one, the
283.
one.
Yeah. SPGW 283.
That one actually is quite nice. Not for everybody, but the dial really shines in light. It shimmers. It's very shimmery.
How do they make the blue pop out? Because it's quite subtle, right?
The blue pops a lot.
Pops a lot.
Yeah.
It pops a
Oh,
lot.
Yeah.
It almost feels like what they described. It really feels like an icy texture.
I actually think it might be something you will enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I actually think
I haven't
might
seen
be.
it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I think for someone that likes a let's say a Tiffany bluish kind of pop, it has that, and with a
It's
shimmer
like a sparkly,
and texture. Yeah.
sparkly.
It has a silvery
Yeah.
shimmer
Okay,
to
I
it.
see.
Yeah. So I think if you if you enjoy that kind of watch that pops,
Yeah.
I think that's a really good watch to look at. Yeah.
Okay.
Not just the color, the
Yeah.
texture and everything as
The
well.
texture is also very clear. Actually, it's much easier to see even than Tim's Summer. But this one you have to look to find it, right?
Yep.
And it surprises you all the time.
Yep.
That one is
Yep.
in your face already. You see it already straight away.
Yeah.
I imagine in the sunlight it's okay, I get what you mean.
Yeah. So there's this shimmer to it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not as blue as
Yeah.
it looks.
It's quite a light.
Okay.
It's actually quite light.
It's not like the Lake Sua.
Is it
No,
closer
no,
to
no,
the
no,
no. Okay.
Skyflake kind of or Lake Sua kind of?
So the texture, it doesn't look. The texture is a bit more like I think the closest I can think of actually is very close to what you have, but because yours is a dark color, right? It doesn't really come out unless the light hits it right.
Yeah.
That one always shows up, so it's like almost like a cross-hatch kind
Okay.
of texture, and that design, that color, it's a bit more muted, but it's very, very evident. You don't have to look very hard to see it. I actually seen the green one. The green one behaves more like this. You kind of have to look for it to see it. It's not very, very obvious. But the thing that turned me off about the green one is actually the strap, the green strap, right? You really have to be the sort of person who like wants maybe like a Hermes sort of color to go with it. Yeah, if you're going to pull that off, that's fine. But that's a nice watch. I can see people picking that over the classic 231 just for something a bit more texture, like with the same case.
Yep.
Price difference will be around like.
No, there is a premium. Look at Woody's infographics chart.
Yeah, there's a small premium. I think about.
It is worth it.
2,000 ringgit, a bit more. Yeah. I would say that if you want, and that's actually the reason why that friend of mine bought it as well. It's like you think Grand Seiko, you think of some textured dial, right?
Yeah.
And I think Grand Seiko knows it. That's why it's like limited edition after regular edition after limited edition, right? And they just released another deep blue one, which I'm not really sure whether there's really a texture there yet.
It's a sunburst from Renders.
It's from Sunburst, but the people in the Facebook Grand Seiko Club group posted a somewhat close up with a phone photo, and they say that there is some minor texture to it, right? And I kind of see that it may be. So if anything, I would probably say it's in between the 231 and like the 283 and 285, right? So somewhere in between. I do like the color of that though. I'm always the fan of the like the navy blue,
very deep.
And then the because like every time if it's blue, the GS is going to be yellow, right? Like the Whirlpool and everything. I'm a big fan of that combination. But it's a UX exclusive for me, so for now, right? For now,
let's just see whether they honor that. Is it limited though, or is it a regular production?
I don't think it's limited. I just saw it's US exclusive edition. That's what I remember.
So
I could be wrong.
So it's a bit like the Europe has got a light and dark one as well. I think they call this a light blue one as well. Light cream textured and a darker grey texture. That's only unique to Europe. But same case design. So they're really milking this line every which way.
It seems like they're milking every line.
They are.
Everything. I can't keep up with Grand Seiko right now.
Yeah, and I think also Instagrammer that said that even the new, the pink one, the limited edition 44GS 36.5K,
the one you want.
that's not the only one that's coming this year. There'll be more this year.
Wow.
They've already seen it.
More
colors that'll be coming, and they're not done yet. So the dealers have previewed it. They're not allowed to say what it looks like, but they just said that if you think there's no more after this, there will be.
So no need to worry lah.
So what are your thoughts about this? Because people are always giving flack about giving flack to like Rolex, Omega, just creating texture, colored dial and more colored dial and so on. Do you think it's okay for Grand Seiko, or they get a pass of this?
For me personally, I give them a pass partially because I'm biased, I'll admit it, but secondly because there's a texture. It's not a flat paint that you just applied, right? And every single one, they put the effort to try and explain what's different about it, even if they are technically kind of recycling some of the textures as well, right? But you can't accuse them of not being one of the few watch brands that does dial textures uniquely to them as well, right? So
I agree with. They put definitely a lot of effort in all of these new textures. Well, sometimes with new colors.
New colors.
But I think to the point, like some of the texture is kind of like becoming iconic on its own. Like you have the one that everyone really likes, the Kirazuri doll, that pattern, and then now they have different color schemes of that, and then of course Snowflake is there, and then now of course the birch. So even the patterns are starting to have their own so-called lines, if you will.
Green birch.
Yeah, the green birch is
Why do you call
literally
it green birch?
Yeah, I mean, I have an issue with that because it's like where do you find a green birch? Because the bark never turns green unless there's
Yeah.
moss or green stuff on it, right? So I don't like the ideology of it. I like it when they nail it. Some of it when they describe it, like the snowflake that you have, right? It really looks like snow. So you make sense out of that. I think like even when they describe that one, it really feels a summery feel to it. The green birch I know it looks nice, but ideologically something's a bit off there.
You've seen it already?
No. I've seen because some places around the world, Malaysia doesn't have it. You have to buy it through a boutique, online boutique. Some people have seen it because the official boutique carries it.
Is this
The hybrid.
the one that looked like a tree one?
Yeah.
The dao, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the original white birch is the silvery one, the hybrid one. So they basically made a green version of it.
Oh, okay.
It's effectively the same watch with a green now. Yeah.
Okay, that's not the one looking at. I think the one I'm thinking about is a limited edition, like a black with like some wooden texture.
No. The one that's the ever brilliant steel.
Yeah.
The one where it's a brown and a blue, right?
Yeah.
No, not that one.
Okay,
not that one. They basically took the white birch texture from the hybrid and
I
turned
see.
it green. Yeah. Very 3D effect. This one is actually very mild compared to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think when you mentioned that as well, not sure if it's coincident or not, but a lot of people's feedback from the hybrid white birch is that it's too silver, too shiny and everything like that, and they took this from here. If they actually do listen to the community, I think that's really cool. That's really cool of them to
That they
do.
did this as a second iteration of
Yeah. Not sure if it's coincident or not, but yeah.
But they also fix a few things, right? Like the marker here, like
I think it's a different movement. So,
but in the dial itself, right? Like there's a big marker here
Yeah.
for the flavor and the cap.
the cap
Yeah.
they put on the green birch. They put the cap.
Oh,
On
they
the
put
green, they
the
put the
green
cap on the green birch, but they didn't fix that painting on the green birch. So it's small little nuances. So it's a bit strange, lah. I've given up trying to figure out what SEIKO is trying to do. Yeah.
All right. I think that would be it for today's episode.
Yep.
Well, right. It's just going to be a real quick one. There is a lot of internal conversation going on in terms of next potential NWA for us. So stay tuned for that. We hope to bring you more new watches, new watch adventures from ourselves and stories to share as well. But I think for now, this will be it. And we'll see you guys soon for the next one. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Right.